General Daniel Dumelevu, who was forced to retire under controversial circumstances.
I would like to say a big thank you. At times, when the going becomes very tough, friends and family will call and they are shaking. And I say, fear not, the Lord is with us. It shall be well, and it is always well.
We take you live to a Thanksgiving service to celebrate his service to Ghana on the day when Civil Society Coalition took on President Akufo-Addo, the Audit Service Board and its chairman, who they accuse of unprofessionalism in orchestrating what they call the targeted constructive dismissal of the Auditor General.
The many people who helped you there will continue with that fight. That God will continue to help you to continue with that truthfulness and the value of sincerity and probity which the society looks for.
The president must reinstate the Auditor General.
The Auditor General has been hounded out of office. Anti-corruption agencies are hampered from carrying out their work.
And top stories are always brought to you by Gassim Cement. The nation builder is also brought to you by Vodafone. The future is exciting already, as well as Belakwa Mineral Water. Well, in the last few minutes, we are hearing in detail from the first time from Daniel Dumelevu, who was forced to retire under controversial circumstances. And indeed, he was forced to retire, but tonight, he's been celebrated as a national hero. Former Auditor General Daniel Dumelevu has been joined by many well-wishers at the Christ the King Catholic Church for a special service to thank God for his service to Ghana. We'll take you live to the venue shortly, but this event comes on the day the Coalition of Civil Society Organizations Against Corruption took on the president, the Audit Service Board, and its chairman, accusing them of orchestrating what they call a coordinated constructive dismissal of the Auditor General. In Parliament today, there is more support for the former Auditor General, with some minority members demanding his reinstatement. Well, a short while ago at this Thanksgiving service at the Christ the King Church, Mr. Daniel Dumelevu giving his own thanks to a host of people, including the sitting president, who is accused of orchestrating his constructive dismissal, thanked President Akufo-Addo for encouraging him to accept the position when the former president, John Dramani Mahama, appointed him, again under controversial circumstances. Listen to him.
By saying that today we are here to thank God. As the bishop said, in every situation we are supposed to thank God. That is why we are here. So if anybody wants to know why we are here simply to thank God. So my thanks, or our thanks, go to the Almighty God for how far He has brought us. We are very grateful to Him. I would also like to thank the Catholic Church. The Church has been an inspiration and support. In fact, there were times that the bishops would all call me and advise the way forward. I'm very grateful to you, my Lord bishops. I would like to thank His Excellency, the former President, John Dramani Mahama, who appointed me as the Auditor General of Ghana. I thank him for the opportunity to serve my motherland. I also like to thank His Excellency, the President, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, for working with me. In fact, in 2016, when I was appointed and I was confused as to whether accept or reject, a call came through from Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempe. And after greeting me, he said, hold on for the president-elect. So Nana Addo Akufo-Addo encouraged me and said, go and take the job. That's why I am very grateful to him. I am equally grateful to the board, the management and staff of the audit service. Some of them are here. And I must say, I'm very grateful to you and even to the whole public service. I must say to the anti-corruption CSOs or institutions fighting corruption, I am very grateful. If you fight corruption alone, you will not last. Corruption is one dangerous enemy you can't fight alone. And you can't fight quietly. If you fight corruption quietly, you will be finished in a minute. So they have been with me together with the press. In fact, the press, I'm very grateful to you. You have been a big support to me in all that has happened over the years. Lastly, family and friends, I would like to say a big thank you. At times, when the going becomes very tough, friends and family will call and they are shaking. And I say, fear not, the Lord is with us. It shall be well. And it is always well. So I would like to thank you. I don't have anything to say more than to say thank you because this is a Thanksgiving service.
To the Christ the King Church. There's a lot happening today around his forced retirement in Parliament, the civil society groups coming together to address a joint press conference, and then this is topping it up with this Thanksgiving service. Kweku Asante is there for us tonight. Kweku, who else is there?
Evan, so Dr. Kojo Pumpuni Asante, as well as a host of other corruption anti-crusaders are here. Professor Jimabwedi, who founded CDD and also founded the Afro Barometer, is also here trying to give the moral support to Mr. Domlevo as he goes through this phase of his life. And so there's a pack of anti-corruption crusaders. There's actually a number of Catholic bishop leaders who, although are not leaders of the Christ the King parish, are from various parts of the country, have also come here. Mr. Evans Mensah is leader of the citizens movement against corruption. Is also here, Evan.
I see, and this is, as we've heard Daniel Domelevo himself say, it's a Thanksgiving service, and we've had a sermon delivered already. And in this sermon, understand that the Catholic bishop who delivered it was full of praise for him, and in fact reveals how he gave him hope when it comes to the fight against corruption.
Right, Evan. So the Catholic bishop, the leader of the Keta Akachi Diocese, who actually led the service today, has been saying that Mr. Daniel Domlevo left a huge mark, an indelible mark in the country's fight against corruption. He's actually saying that there was a period in his life when he thought that the country had completely lost the fight against corruption. But upon the appointment of Mr. Daniel Domlevo and the kind of actions he took, he gave him some hope that this country can fight the canker of corruption. Let's listen to Gabriel Kumoji, who is the Keta Akachi Archbishop of the Catholic Church.
I remember in the last Thanksgiving celebration with Daniel, I told him that at one point I was discouraged that Ghana, in the fight against corruption, we are not going to win. It looks like we have lost it. But at least, when he came, he gave us some hope. I would say that hope is not yet gone. You have set a tradition. You have set a certain pace. And that is one of the things we are thanking God for. And I know the many people who helped you there will continue with that fight. And I know that God will continue to help you to continue with that truthfulness and the value of sincerity and probity which the society looks for.
Kweku, so we've heard from the Catholic bishop, and we've heard from Daniel Domelevo himself with the revelation that apparently it is the incumbent president. And we'll hear shortly from the civil society groups who accuse the incumbent president of coordinating this orchestrated constructive dismissal with the audit service of Mr. Domelevo himself. That apparently it's him, another Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who called him, encouraged him to accept his appointment. Who else has been speaking at this Thanksgiving service?
Right. So right after the service just ended, about 5 minutes ago, I've been speaking to Professor Jima Bodi, a co-founder of Afrobarometer and also the CDD Ghana. And he's been telling me that he was expecting that the president will give Mr. Daniel Domlovo a post-retirement contract, because he said in his words, there are a number of state officials who, although do not even deserve the post-retirement contract, have been given contract. And so it was expected that even if Mr. Daniel Domlovo was retiring or had retired, as the presidency has sought to claim, then Mr. Daniel Domlovo deserved to be given a post-retirement contract. And so it came to him as a surprise that he will be forced out at this point in time and not given a post-retirement contract, according to Professor Jima Bodi, who has been leading one of the anti-corruption charges in the country ever.
Kweku, thank you very much. And this is happening on the day when a coalition of civil society organizations against corruption held a joint press conference to take on some of the key issues that had emerged since the issues around the Auditor General started playing out. The Auditor General, as you recall, was directed to retire by the office of the president last week after the office had compelled him last year to take his accumulated leave. The coalition at a joint press conference laid out their case why the Auditor General had been unfairly targeted. Now, listen to Dr. Kojo Asante with the Center for Democratic Development, CDD.
So without commenting on the correctness or lack thereof of the High Court decision, we are persuaded that any objective mind and well-meaning Ghanaian presented with these facts and circumstances will ask questions about the propriety of the president's actions. Let me deal with this small matter of inconsistencies in the date of birth of Auditor General Domlovo. And I've seen videos going around of Mr. Domlovo talking about people staying in office, after 60 years and so on. Part of the propaganda that has been put around left and right. On March 3rd, a letter issued by the Office of the President constructively and without legal justification retired Mr. Domlovo as Auditor General on grounds that he had attained the age of retirement based on his alleged date of birth being June 1, 1960. Now, it is important to note that the Audit Service Board has no authority under the laws of Ghana to determine the accuracy of Mr. Domlovo's date of birth. In addition, given the series of confrontations and the Audit Service Board, particularly its chairman, Professor Diadman, had with Mr. Domlovo, it was only fair and consistent with the rules of natural justice for the matter to have been referred to the appropriate state agency or authority for its determination. The hurriedly orchestrated queries and decisions taken by the Audit Service Board, acting in concert with the Office of the President, and the President's unilateral decision to forcibly retire Mr. Domlovo on the same day he returned to post from an equally forced accumulated leave confirms our belief that Mr. Domlovo has been unfairly targeted.
Well, the coalition wants Mr. Domlovo himself to take action against the Audit Service and the presidency for administrative injustice.
The coalition notes with regret that the Supreme Court is yet to determine two suits relating to the constitutionality of the Auditor General's forced accumulated leave by the President, which was filed by Professor Kweku Asare and 9 CSOs in July and October 2020, respectively. In part, this delay in hearing these time-sensitive cases have rendered some of the issues raised before the court moot and has allowed a grave breach of the Constitution to fester, at least in our estimation. Therefore, it is important for the Supreme Court to deal with these suits expeditiously to prevent any such action by a future president. In the interest of promoting good governance, constitutionalism, and public accountability, we do call on the Supreme Court to deal with these suits as soon as practicable. We also urge the Auditor General to take action against the Audit Service and the Presidency for administrative injustice. This is a matter that should definitely go to Shraj, because I think the Auditor General, for the interest of posterity, his own integrity, it's a matter that has to be established as a matter of law. It is a wake-up call to all well-meaning Ghanaians to be citizens and not spectators, to speak up and not stay silent when such manifestly unfair treatment is meted out to individuals who are trying to do their job, and to do so with integrity, and doing it in the public interest. This is one of the things that we complain about almost on a daily basis. Now, when we find people who are trying to help promote the public interest, we do this to them. Which young people are going to follow suit to do what is right? If we want social and economic transformation, silence is not an option. And after 64 years of independence, we owe it to this generation to chart a true democratic path that is inclusive and meritocratic.
I want to bring in a member of that coalition that addressed the press conference today. He is Evans Mensah. He is a co-chair of the Citizen Movement Against Corruption, and they are part of the coalition of civil society organizations against corruption. Mr. Sananu, thank you for your time here on Top Story, and I understand that you are also at the Christ the King Church tonight.
Yes, I am. But your voice level is quite low. I don't know whether the tech people can increase so I can hear you clearly.
I don't know if it's better.
It's better now.
Fantastic. So yes, you are there tonight. What's the point of this event tonight?
Well, Mr. Daniel Domevo says he wants to give thanks for all the people who have supported him, from the former president who appointed him to the current president who, as an incumbent encouraged him when he wasn't sure whether he should even take up the position, to civil society, to his family, to media. He thinks he's done his best to serve his country, and he just wants to give thanks. Apparently, this has been an annual thing, and that in the last 3-4 years, every year he brought all the audit staff, including his board, here for Thanksgiving. So the pastor, the bishop, indicated that, look, this is not the first time, and not only has he been here to do Thanksgiving for all his staff, he's also taken him to bury his parents in the Afram Plains. So he knows the family quite well.
Did it surprise you to hear the disclosure today by Mr. Demolevo himself that apparently it is the incoming president then in 2016 into 2017, which is Akufo-Addo, who had called them and encouraged him to take the appointment? We know his appointment was under controversial circumstances. Considering the fact that you at the press conference today accused the president, the current one, and the audit service of orchestrating the constructive dismissal of the same former Auditor General.
Well, yes, it was a pleasant surprise to know that taking up the office, he got further assurance from this president. But as you know, part of our job in good governance and accountability is to speak truth to power. We think at the beginning of this new 4-year term, it's important to labor to our president that we are quite disappointed with what has transpired. We think that if there was any single candidate worthy of this position, he's the one. He's chosen to exit quietly, but we, civil society, are not happy with that decision. So I'm just saluting him right here. So yes, we are here celebrating and thanking God with him. But it doesn't take away the fact that the state under which he's been exited leaves a lot to be desired for somebody who served this country, who is internationally known. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to explain to my colleagues in other countries how our democracy allowed this to happen. So we are still disappointed with the action of the president and his advisors, and we'll continue to talk about that issue.
I guess I brought that revelation up to ask the question. I mean, if this is a man who encouraged him to take the job, is it fair to say that he was targeted? He's targeting him now and constructively dismissing him. Isn't the case of his retirement age and simply has to go?
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello, Mr. Sanadu, can you hear me?
Sorry, the line's gone bad.
Great. I mean, is it better now?
I can hear you now.
Great. Yeah. I'm just asking, just on the back of that revelation. I mean, knowing now that at least it's the incumbent president, you still can hear me. Let's rectify that. Let us bring him back. You can hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic. I'm just asking. I mean, knowing now that Akufo-Addo, as the incoming president, had actually encouraged him to take up the job, is it fair to accuse the same person of orchestrating a constructive dismissal and targeting the same man that he encouraged to take the same job?
Well, these are two separate issues. I mean, the fact that somebody in one time praised you and even suggested that you were the best candidate to be promoted to play a role, does not mean that 3-4 years later that person may not do something else. And this morning we spoke to the facts. As you see, we took a lot of effort to do a chronology of how things had transpired. The fact that Mr. Domelevo, rather than go to court on this issue of interference from the audit board chair, chose to appeal to the president, obviously was dependent on the fact that he knew that it was this president who encouraged him to take the position. So he obviously was looking forward to the president being able to address this issue where you have a former auditor general, as it were, interfering and commissioning audits which he could not according to the law. So we provided all that detail to indicate that this is a man who was very forbearing, tried to make sure that the president understood that, look, according to the law and the mandate I've given me, this cannot go on. Because there's also the conflict of interest because this gentleman is serving in a capacity directly related to your government and at the same time supposed to be somebody supervising a public entity that's supposed to be independent and objective in its auditing. So there are several issues that come up, which is just unfortunate, and it looks like nobody paid attention to all of this. And obviously the trajectory was clear. If you have a past Auditor General who doesn't understand conflict of interest and he insists on commissioning audits, I'm not too surprised. We are not too surprised where we find ourselves. But more importantly is the precedent we think must be changed. Because if we have future presidents able to instruct the Chief Justice to go on leave or the Electoral Commissioner to go on a leave at a time that is critical for nation building, then the whole spirit of the Constitution would be just turned upside down. That's not the point.
You today asked him to take the matter up at Shraj. Why?
Because issues of administrative justice essentially lie in the bosom of Shraj. And we clearly see an issue of administrative justice here because the executive cannot be judge and jury and conclude a case and say, your birth date has changed and therefore we are sending you home. That's not done. The gentleman should have been given all the opportunity to explore independent institutions not influenced by the executives to cross-check the facts he was adducing before you draw the conclusion that this gentleman has changed his birth date and therefore you should send him home on retirement. That really was not fair. So we have encouraged him to go to church, and even if he doesn't, I mean, I'm sure others will be so minded to take up the issue because it leaves a slur on the man's legacy, one that we believe has set a certain standard. Hopefully, other younger people will not be so disappointed by how he's been treated by this government, but be encouraged to stand. And civil society will continue to do its bit in trying to push forward the frontiers of good governance in this country.
So to be clear, this Shraj encouragement is simply a case of trying to settle the matter around the controversy surrounding his date of birth, which was used as a basis to force him to retire.
Absolutely. We know that if he had been given an additional 3 months, and by the way, look, there are so many chief executives with accumulated leave who have not been dealt with this way. There are, we shouldn't even get there. It's purely a targeting of somebody who's done his job well for this country. He's been forced to retire. We think that he should go home with his credibility intact. Let's leave the rest. God will handle it.
He's your friend. You've seen him today. You've seen him a lot. Do you think he has the appetite?
Well,
you think he has it? Go on.
Actually, he's not my friend. I don't have a personal relationship with Mr. Domelevo. Today's the first time that I actually just hit his elbow because I'm here because this is one person who stood for what I have always believed in. The values that I believe this country needs to move forward. So as an individual, I'm here to support him. I have never had a chat with Mr. Domelevo.
In fact, I just wanted to inquire. I mean, no, just see him today because he's not your friend. You see somebody with the appetite to take this matter up at Shraj? Or simply wants to leave it and just go and retire and enjoy his retirement?
I don't know. I was intending to ask him, so maybe you should call me back. I intend to walk to him and ask him.
Is he still around you?
He's a slight distance away. Why you'd like to talk to him? I can figure that out.
I would like to just get a few words.
I know Evans would like to pull this one off.
I do.
Just hold on and let me.
I will. I mean, we will definitely also be going to Parliament shortly because it's become a subject of some debate on the floor today, with minority members accusing the president of double standards on the matter, but also demanding that he be reinstated. Also, if I can get a quick word from Mr. Domelevo himself on the day when he's giving thanks to God for his service to Ghana, that'll be lovely. Definitely here on Top Story. We'll get to Parliament shortly. We'll hear from a few NDC members of Parliament who have been talking about this on the floor. Here on Top Story. Let's listen to the MP for Elembele, who has been speaking about this, demanding that the president reinstate him.
The president must reinstate the Auditor General, and for good reason. The overwhelming majority of Ghanaians believe that this Auditor General was doing a good job. The overwhelming majority.
Okay, so I'll come to Parliament shortly. I want to go to the phone lines right now. Hello, Mr. Domelevo.
Yeah, hold on for him.
Okay, great.
Hello, Ivan.
Hi, Mr. Domelevo. Nice to talk to you. And you were thanking God today. How do you feel after going through this day of Thanksgiving with all your friends around you?
Oh, I'm very happy. I'm grateful, and especially I was not expecting so many people to come. And especially the Archbishop of Accra, who is not very well, has to come and join the team. The bishop from Kita Akachi also came, and many other priests. And I can say that I'm very happy. Thanks be to God, and thanks to all of you.
And you gave a revelation today that surprised a lot of people. That actually it was Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo who, and correct me if I'm wrong, that time he was not president yet, right? Calls you and says, take up the job.
Yes, I think you heard me.
Yeah, that's what happened. This must have been in before he was sworn in, correct?
That time he was a president-elect. He was not a president.
He was president-elect. Well, what's your relationship with him after that call? How has it been?
Our relationship has been cordial, very, very cordial. We had several meetings, so... But let me say that I want to agree with you. I said today I'm basically thanking God. So let's not go into the politics of the day. So please, I beg you, thank him and thank all of you and all Ghanaians for me. I would like to end it there, please.
Absolutely. And just before you go, he's gone. Okay.
I hope you are okay.
Well, I mean, I had a few words from him, and definitely, and he's thanking God today. Definitely, it's this for you, civil society. You hinted that either he himself goes, because I wanted to ask him that last question, but he obviously wants to just stick to thanking God. Whether he wants to take up that challenge to go to the charge. If he doesn't, it doesn't sound like somebody speaking to him now who has the appetite to take on. If he doesn't, will civil society do it?
Yes, once we can get his consent, I mean, obviously, as the key subject of the issue. So we will certainly engage him, because for us, these are incidents that are crucial for the future of this country. This is a milestone, and if we can get clarity on the administrative procedure that was followed, it will serve this country well for the future. So yes, we will still follow up with him to see whether if he won't, whether we can engage on his behalf.
That is Evans Mensah. Thank you very much. He is the co-chair of the Citizen Movement Against Corruption. More on this on Newsnight. More from Parliament. Apologies, we didn't get to hear the full interview with the MP for Elembele. We'll also hear on the floor of Parliament from the MP for Senator Lugu, who brought this up on the floor during the debate of the State of the Nation address, accusing the president of double standards. Stay with us on Newsnight, which starts right now.